So you've toiled away without complaint for years, earning a hard, honest living, and the day has finally come when you can purchase property in the wondrous land of Skyrim. For the Redguard named Habd, his wife Ramati, and their 2 children Sudi and Marni, this has finally become a reality. Frostflow Lighthouse may be nestled in the snowy tundra halfway between Dawnstar and Winterhold, a fair trek from both cities, but if you can deal with the isolation, it is quite the place to call home. The lighthouse is perched atop a tall cliff, overlooking the northern horizon of the Sea of Ghosts. The tall columns of an ancient Nordic ruin provide a rustic landmark to show lucky guests, and you can even gaze upon Azura in all her majesty to the east. There is a well and a small garden outside the property, as well as a functional stable for the horses. There is no doubt that Habd felt immense pride in purchasing the property, giving his family shelter and security against the elements. But as we discover the lighthouse for the first time, these pleasant thoughts are soon spoiled by the smell of death and the tragic sight of a horse lying dead in the snow outside the stable. Living happily ever after obviously wasn't on the cards for this hard-working family, and the true horror of the situation will soon unravel itself as we stalk closer to the damned place. Hey guys, it's Drew here and welcome back to FudgeMuppet. Today we're going to delve into the full story of the Frostflow Abyss and the horrific atrocities that took place within the seemingly benign lighthouse. So let's get out of the cold and step inside the property. The first sight that meets us as we push open the door is the splayed out corpse of a woman, her exposed form resting in a pool of blood. A Falmer war axe is buried deep in her navel. The Falmer are found deep underground, usually making their camps and nests in long forgotten Dwemer ruins or Nordic crypts. What on earth was a Falmer weapon doing in a house atop a cliff? The furniture is scattered and broken, and the meal served at the dinner table now sits on the floor, smattered with the woman's blood. By the fireplace there is a dead Taurus, and beside it what I presume to be the weapon used to kill it, a woodcutter's axe. These honest Redguards didn't go down without a fight, but still, there is a little explanation for why a Falmer axe and a Taurus carcass are in the dining room of a lighthouse. I'd say it's time to investigate. As we make our way over to the woman's body, we can hear the sound of crackling or scratching or something of the like, as if there are creepy crawlies skittering about within the walls and under the floors. On the woman's body we find Habd's journal. It reads, "After years of sailing from Hammerfell to Solstheim and back, Ramati and I have finally saved enough money to buy that old lighthouse we spotted on the coast, and we are moving in next month. These Nords really know how to live. It may be cold, but you can't beat the tranquility of the watching icebergs to live out your silver years. Ramati loves the place too, despite the occasional leaky ceiling. Marni and Sudi unfortunately seem miserable here. I know the kids are old enough to strike out on their own, but I hope they'll grow to love the peace and quiet here as I have." Marni and Sudi continue to bicker and harass each other, and they seem to have started in on their mother as well. Ramati keeps finding things missing from the cellar. Sudi said she heard a noise down there, but Marni just thinks their mother is going mad from isolation. The very thought of it is ridiculous. She's always wanted to retire here. Sudi keeps saying that she hears scratching coming from the cellar at night. I think she's just trying to get her mother's goat, but I'd better head into town to get a few traps just in case it skeevers. Should only take a couple of days. I just hope those two go easy on Ramati while I'm gone. Oh gods, why? I returned home to find my beautiful Ramati killed, and this thing, this horrible bug-like creature ransacking our home. I managed to kill the damn thing. I think it might be a Daedra. I've never seen anything like it. Oh gods, poor Ramati. It must have come out of the cellar. I'm going down there and locking the door behind me to make sure they don't escape. I don't know if I'll make it out, but I have to save my family." So we see that poor Habd's retirement dreams were cut short, and the body in the centre of the living room must be Ramati's. What he thought was a Daedra was obviously the Taurus, as he referred to it as bug-like. But now that we know something is horribly wrong here, maybe we can put some faith behind Sudi's fears. She heard scratching from the cellar, just like we heard upon investigating the crime scene. Maybe we can find the grieving husband down in the cellar, but unless you can pick a master lock, it may benefit to explore a little further first. In the bedroom to the right there is a double bed, likely Habd and Ramati's room. On the bedside table we can find the deceased woman's journal. This one says, "We finally did it. We bought the lighthouse. I thought Habd was just making idle promises all these years. What husband doesn't want to promise their wife the 2 moons from the sky? But I didn't think we'd actually manage to get it. Now if I could only find where we put everything. I can't find my favourite cooking pot and it is slightly infuriating. Sudi and Marnie seem unhappy, but they're still young and don't seem to understand that we just want to spend a few more years with them before they leave us to see the world. I know they think their father will live forever, but I see his age creeping into his eyes. He made me promise again that when he died I would put his bones in the lighthouse fire so he could look out over the ocean forever. All those two get me sometimes. I went to unpack some of our keepsakes from the trading ships we used to sail, but I can't find them. Sudi keeps saying she's hearing something in the basement at night, and Marnie suggested it was skeevers. They know I hate skeevers. Now I'm too scared to go down there at all. I'm glad I unpacked my favourite urn and put it safely on the mantle before those two started causing mischief. If they put a skeever in the basement, I swear. The sadness of the situation becomes clearer now. Ramati seems so relieved and grateful for her husband's successes, yet things were not perfect for long. She even writes about her husband's dying wish. Should he perish, they were to put his bones in the lighthouse fire. However, as is every man's worst fear, it seems he may have outlived his family, leaving no one to fulfill his final wish. We can at least hope that his children remain safe. Their bodies are not present in the bedrooms after all. We can then find Sudi, the daughter's journal, in the adjacent bedroom. She writes, "I hate it here. Why did we have to move to Skyrim anyway? I miss the big port cities. There was always something to do and new people around. Or even being a cabin girl on one of the ships we used to sail on would be better than this. Marnie says we should run away, but I can't leave mother and father alone out here. Oh, what to do? We've been here for 2 months now and there is nothing to do. From the top of the lighthouse we can see all the way to the College of Winterhold, but father says that magic is for Daedra worshippers. The only interesting thing to have happened lately is that mother snapped at us at dinner and accused us of stealing things out of the cellar. I did hear scratching down there the other night, but I thought it was just father cleaning fish. I caught Marnie in the cellar a couple days ago, going through some of the barrels and crates. At first I thought it was him all along making those scratches to play a trick on me, but I heard them again last night and Marnie was in bed. Father finally said he would go get some traps and poison from town in case it's skeevers. I'm really scared. It doesn't sound like skeevers to me. Marnie won't listen. He thinks I'm just making up the noises and keeps sneaking into the cellar. Oh, why is he so stupid sometimes? I don't know why he keeps going down there, but I found the cellar key he copied and hid it in mother's favourite keepsake so he won't find it. The scratching is getting louder. We can see through the lens of youth that Sudi doesn't appreciate the tranquility of the Sea of Ghosts. But most importantly, it seems clear that every reasonable explanation for the scratching in the cellar has been debunked, so she was clearly aware that things were not right. Maybe that means she was able to escape. She finishes by revealing the location of the cellar key, so we can now proceed with the investigation. But before we go, let's quickly check Marnie's side of the bedroom. In his knapsack beneath the bed, we can find a short letter. He says, "Sudi, I know you've been making up that stuff about the noises in the basement to try to get me to stay, but I'm only waiting till father gets home so you and mother are safe. You could always come meet up with me before I head back to Hammerfell. Take care of yourself, little sister, Marnie." Having Marnie as the man of the house obviously wasn't enough to save poor Ramati. Anyway, beside the torch bug in a jar, we can search the burial urn and retrieve the cellar key. No doubt we're about to get some answers. The steps down into the cellar are smeared with blood in patches, and Hab's skeever traps appear to be cocked and untriggered. When we round the corner into the cellar, it is flooded with snow and icicles jut down from the ceiling. Immediately a pair of Taurus will attack us. That solves the mystery of the scratching sounds. No shock there. Behind the bugs, 2 sets of shelves have been knocked down, and there is a gaping hole in the wall. Had this been there from the beginning? Was this how the Frostflow Lighthouse got exposed to malignant forces lingering deep below the building's foundation? Following the descending path will take us into the Frostflow Abyss, and here we can see the telltale signs of a Falmer camp, complete with their Taurus companions. After dealing with the inhabitants of the camp, we can find another regretful sight. Between the tents, roasting on a bed of coals atop a rock, Marnie lies impaled by a Falmer sword. No doubt he fought honourably, trying to protect his mother and sister, but if he came down here, does that mean Sudi came down here too? We then continue on to find even more creepy crawlies, this time frostbite spiders, who've coated the walls of the tunnels in silken webs. And then in a large antechamber our fears are confirmed. Within a Falmer cell, Sudi can be found dead beside a burning torch and 2 scribbled notes. The only weapon in sight is not a Falmer one, but a regular old iron dagger, the blade resting against her wrists. Surely not. The first note says, I don't know how long we've been down here. Father came down to find us, but those things captured him as well. I asked him if he'd seen Mother or Marnie, but I don't know if he could even hear me. One of those bugs bit him when he tried to get free, and now he's feverish. And then, the bloodstained note reveals the truth of her death. They took Father. There had been some others they brought down, but they led them off and all we heard were the screams, and now Father is gone too. Oh gods, why didn't I listen to Marnie? Father's fever was getting worse and kept mumbling about Daedra. I don't know where he was hiding it, but I think I know why he left me this dagger. It was all too much for the poor daughter, and she took her own life. Only the patriarch of the family has any hope left now, but even for him it seems to be a vain hope. He was bitten by a poisonous Taurus, and his fever was worsening. The only chance of Hab being alive now comes from the torch burning beside Sudi's body. It still burns brightly, so maybe we're not too late. The nest never ends, and the infestation is obviously not something that could have been solved by a few skeever traps. Eventually we will find ourselves in the lair of the Taurus Reaper, the strongest of the chitinous insects. Upon killing the giant creature, we can examine its corpse to find the source of the Frostflow murders. Within its stomach, Hab's remains can be found with the Lighthouse key. So it seems Hab persevered despite his fever as he was taken to the end of the frozen abyss. He waded through water and Taurus sludge up to his knees, only to find himself face to face with a beast twice his size, looking to gorge on his flesh. Habs never got to enjoy his retirement in peaceful solitude, and his family line came to an end in the process. But if there's one thing we can do for the humble Redguard, it's give him the burial he wished for. We must then travel back to the cellar, passing the grisly scene in the dining room, before heading up the spiralling staircase to the top of the lighthouse. Here the chaos that unfolded below seems like a distant memory. We once more get a glimpse of Hab's quiet life overlooking the Sea of Ghosts. With the warmth of the lighthouse fire overhead, Habs and Ramati likely would have stood at the parapets, watching the world go by. As sailors from Hammerfell, they would have had enough stories to share that they could have reminisced until old age took them gently in their sleep. Hopefully Hab's soul can relish in the warmth of the lighthouse and the serenity of the Sea of Ghosts in the afterlife. So we put the bones in the fire and are rewarded with a unique power, Sailor's Repose. This active effect is always with us and grants a 10% boost to all healing spells. And there you have it guys, the tragic tale of Frostflow Abyss. If you enjoyed the video, maybe show your support with a like, it means a lot to us. Also check out our social media links in the description if you want to keep up with us outside of YouTube. Thanks so much for watching guys, I've been Drew and I will see you in the next one.